Welcome back to Conversations with Biz. That's Ben, I'm Israel, that's Zeeks. And the Supreme Court recently told us something we all knew about the LGBTQ XYZ, yeah, you know the rest, community. Let's look at it.
Let's just summarise for us what we've been hearing.
Well, we just heard from Lord Hodge, who was presiding over this case. There were 5 judges who were making this incredibly difficult decision, but he said that it was an unanimous decision between the 5 judges, that in the case of the Equality Act, the 2010 Equality Act, when it refers to woman or sex, it is referring to biological sex and not somebody who has a gender recognition certificate. That was what this case rested on. It was effectively the judges here were being asked to make a decision on the correct interpretation of the Equality Act. Was it limited to biological sex, or could it also include someone with a gender recognition certificate? But today, the judges have decided and ruled in favour of For Women Scotland. They were the ones who appealed against the Scottish Government. They wanted to have clarity on the law in regarding this, and they have indeed had that clarity. I mean, you can hear some of the people behind me clearly delighted by the news today from the Supreme Court that when it comes to the Equality Act, it is referring women and sex is referring to biological sex. Now, this will be welcomed by For Women Scotland, but of course there will be transgender campaigners and those in the transgender community who will be very disappointed by the decision today at the Supreme Court.
Alice Porter outside the Supreme Court for us. Thank you so much. Let's bring in the legal commentator, Joshua Rosenberg. Joshua, just distill for us what we've been hearing. That was quite a long and complicated readout by Lord Hodge there, and he acknowledged that actually the full ruling goes far, far more extensively. What were the key points for you?
It was a very clear ruling, and Lord Hodge made it very clear at the outset that he was allowing this appeal by the Campaign Group for Women Scotland. The unanimous decision of the court is that the terms women and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex, and he excluded what's been described as certificated sex, meaning somebody who has a gender recognition certificate. So this is a way of bringing clarity to a very confused area of the law. I think it's a very practical decision. It's a very common sense decision. It's a decision that gets round the practical problems that he outlined, which is how would you know whether somebody was born a woman or has a gender recognition certificate making them a woman, because you can't even ask them if they have a gender recognition certificate. That's private. How would you deal with all the problems of single-sex spaces? How do you deal with the problems of lesbian groups, of other groups who rely on what's sometimes described as natal sex? But as you heard, Lord Hodge went to considerable lengths to say that although this was a victory for the campaign group, it wasn't a defeat for the trans community. He was making it very clear that their rights are protected. It doesn't mean that they can be discriminated against. They have rights under the Equality Act. It is a defeat for the Scottish Government, which issued this guidance. It's overturning the Scottish courts, which upheld the guidance. Worth bearing in mind that Lord Hodge and the President of the Supreme Court are both from Scotland. They're both former Scottish judges, and the other judges, the other members of the court included the female members of the court. So it's a very clear and decisive decision, which is something that people who feared there might have been some sort of fudge, some sort of grey area, will be pleased with, even though it's a defeat for one side, to the extent that Lord Hodge says that, well, they still have their rights, and a victory for the campaigners who wanted women to be defined as people born as women.
So what do we think, guys? The UK has not fully bowed the knee, at least yet. There's still some sense, there's still some sanity in the country that we reside in.
Yeah, man, he said it there, bro. I'm massively grateful for common sense. Massively grateful for the fact that people are not, subjugating the rest of society, the world, bro, to some of the,
Madness.
respectfully, yeah, that diabolical nonsense. You know what I'm saying? That has been, pervading the planet, and we've just touched on these things kind of ever so slightly in other, content. I think just because one person or one place deems something appropriate, accurate, correct, and they want to live by that, doesn't mean that the rest of us should be subject to their kind of warped view of society. If a person wants to experience life in a particular way, they have, I say this, with honor and reverence, like the God-given privilege to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and attempt to force everyone else under the thumb because a group, a sect, a community thinks that it's right to do so. Bruv, I think that's diabolical. It's demonic. It's witchcraft, bruv. How dare you attempt to cast a spell on everyone else? We can choose to uphold what we believe is right. And you know what? I like what the judge said there. Yeah, it's like there is no a lack of protection for you as an individual, as a person.
Yeah.
You are still protected. We still value you as a member of society. We still welcome you in our community. However, we don't have to, as you said, bow the knee or lay prostrate to what you deem is your truth. And this is the thing that I think a lot of us need to really own. Like, this is a religion. Like, I don't like, it's a belief system. Like, look, let's just be real, man. Like, we all have belief systems and religions. Some people want to tell you that they worship fairies. Some want to tell you that God is, he's not the person that he lays claim to be. Listen, you guys are believing something that the rest of us can't see. The rest of us don't know. The rest of us don't subscribe to. So you're more than welcome to your belief system. I don't subscribe to your religion. I have my own one. You do you, I'll do me. And that don't mean I don't love you. I still love you. I still appreciate you. I just don't agree with what you agree with. The same way you don't worship my God, you don't worship the things I believe. I don't worship what you believe. I don't subscribe to what you believe. So you do you, I'll do me. Yeah, man. Listen, again, I take my hat off, man. First Donald Trump, and now these lot. Yeah, I take my hat off to the government. Well done, UK, man. Stand your ground and, continue to do what is common sense, bruv. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. 100%. I didn't mean to go off on one, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah, that was well said, mate. I don't know if anything else needs to be said. That's exactly what I probably would have said. Maybe not in that way, because I probably would have worded it different, just because obviously we are two different people, but it would have been exactly along the same idea. It's like, you're more than welcome to do what you desire to do. And I'm all for it. I desire that freedom for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Trust me.
The same way I desire that freedom for you, like, bro, you got to desire it for me.
Yeah.
Like, you got to desire it for me. Like, and I don't want to be feeling some type of way. Like, I have to now pretend to be around you and act like you're, at least from what like your ideologies are superior than mine, or even just like from what I can see with my eyes, that, because like, where does the rabbit hole end? Like, how far does this go? Like, do you know what I mean? Because what if I decide I want to identify as a millionaire? Or I want to identify as a white man? Do you know what I mean? It's like, why can't I? Because the logic is exactly the same.
Yeah.
The logic is exactly the same. So no, like, no one's attacking you. And I know most people would try to go down that road. It's like, no, look, I just want you to allow me to think for myself. Don't force me to think.
Yeah. Don't
force me to think. Just because you think a certain way, I've got to think that way. I will share Christ with you. But if you tell me you don't want to know, I will back off. Do you know what I mean? I will back off. Like, look, they don't want to know. Like, so they don't want to know. I'll back off. I'm not going to force my faith onto you. And I know, like, forgive us, because some people who do claim to be believers, they will try also force their faith on you, and they're also wrong. You know what I mean? They're also wrong for doing that. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to be pushed in the corner to behave as though I have to believe what you believe because it makes you feel comfortable. And here's the other question I've always had here. If you believe it's true, why do you need me to believe it?
Come on, bruv. Come on, bruv.
Do you know what I mean? I'm okay believing Christ on my own.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to believe what I believe.
Mhm.
So why do I have to believe what you believe?
And we all eat the consequences of what we believe in it. Let's just
There
be
you
straight.
go.
Man. Do you know what I mean? We're all gonna eat what we believe, bruv. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, oh my days, man.
We've been
Yeah.
giving props to the UK, obviously, but is it a testament? Isn't it a shame that it takes going to the highest court in the land in order to bring about common sense?
I feel like this is the consequence. This is the consequences of allowing, like, you open certain doors. Obviously, like, well, one of the other videos that we did a reaction to, I was talking when we was talking about, you know, like the values of men and the values of women, and saying, like, just because you don't see the damage now, it don't mean, like, you might not even be the person who experiences the damage. Do you know what I mean? Like, years down the line, you start to see, because this is something that years ago you would have said it to someone, they would have been like, "Excuse me," they would have laughed at you and walked off. Like, a mental home is probably sane for you. Do you know what I mean? To the point where, how did it become so normal? Because you know, like they say, it's a small foxes that ruin the vine. You let a little idea in, all of a sudden it begins to blossom. Good idea or bad idea, it begins to blossom. It begins to blossom, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, how did we get here? Well, like, don't you remember when you allowed that? Yeah, that was it. It didn't need to be so big. That was it. The moment you allowed that, it's grown to this, to where, like, nonsense has become sense, and sense has become nonsense. It's crazy.
I feel what you're saying about the whole, you know, going to the highest court in the land, but I'm just grateful that the foolishness, you know, the pandering, the evil hasn't infiltrated at that level, bro. And this is, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's all, yeah, man. That's it. Like, let me not even go in. I don't want to start talking about things that probably aren't fitting for here, but my concern would be that you traverse this pathway, get to that court, and they're like, yeah, they entertain it, and you know, allow the foolishness to pervade. But they've clearly said, and I like the way that commentator put it, bro, it's a common sense approach, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? What do you do with all of the establishment? Like, they want to turn the world upside down, not for good, for bad, bro. Think about that, bro. It's like, and you know, my heart goes out to our children. There will be our grandchildren, bro. Like, there will be times, bro, when those of us who some people might have said are, you know, based, bruv, are sound, bruv, are measured, are no longer here. And I pray, bro, that, you know, in those days in the future, that there are others around that can support those children and grandchildren that we've left, bruv, that have that same base balance and the sound mindset, bro. Because really, like, fear could overcome someone. Look, forecasting the future based on the society we're seeing. So seeing something like this, bro, I'm just pleased that the institutions that have been set in place have not been overrun by this same kind of tomfoolery, bro. Honestly.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, well, that's one thing. That's good news to hear coming out from the UK, to be honest, because, yeah, I've been seeing some filth coming out of the UK recently. So that's an up.
You know, again, yeah, this thing really is expressing to us how bad things have gotten. And I think everyone said that in their own kind of way. So I think, obviously, like, point blank, we shouldn't have to go there. We should not have to go there. It's absolutely not. Yet we've gone there and they've done the right thing. So this is just a picture of how far society has gone from the balanced place that we've been. B raised a really good point. And when you look at the history of this year, people that would talk about gender dysphoria and those kind of things in the past would have been classified as having some kind of a disorder, bro, like mentally, and they would have been addressed in that manner. Like, these things are there. It's factual, man. It's not something being made up. Look, these things are, and you'll see it. Yet people somewhere along the road have you know, decided that no, really, this is a social construct. This should be, like, introduced into society. This is okay. This is normal, etc., etc. And we've got that, but these fringe ideas should not be pervading mainstream society, bro. Honestly. So I'm just glad, bro. But it just isn't. It's a picture of how far things have gone.
All right, guys, let us know what you think in the comment section below. What do you guys think about this recent ruling in the Supreme Court? A female is classified as a biological female. The truth on this occasion has prevailed. And until next time, peace.
Peace.